Hi everyone, it's Jules with Jules Reads. Thank you so much for being here and I really appreciate it, and thanks for anybody that's new as well. Please subscribe. I would love to have you in this community, this little community of booktube here. So this is my weekly wrap-up. I just started these, so I am pretty new to all of this, so bear with me. But this is my weekly wrap-up of reading, but I also like to include what I did this week, what I bought this week as far as books go, my plans for next week. So a little bit of personal stuff as well. But let's get started with what I watched this week. We did a lot of movies. I have been into TV shows a lot within the last few years, more so than movies. But we watched, I think, 4 movies this week. So we watched Oppenheimer, which was really good, but I don't know if it was our sound quality with our speakers, but the voices were so low compared to the music. And the music was throughout the whole thing. So that was a little bit frustrating on our end. We had to actually watch subtitles, which I always watch TV with subtitles, but my husband does not. He doesn't like it. So that was a little frustrating. It was great performances, but that we had an issue with that. So let me know if you guys have had issues with that. So, and then we watched Barbie last night. I couldn't believe I got my husband to actually watch it. I had already saw it in the theater, and I just love it. It warms my heart. That saying of us mothers stand still so our daughters can see how far we have come. It gives me goosebumps just saying that. But that was in the movie, and hopefully I didn't spoil it if you have not watched it yet. And then I watched The Killer on Netflix with Michael Fassbender, and it was directed by one of my favorite directors. He might be my favorite, David Fincher, and I really liked it. It was not what I was expecting, and there's barely any dialogue from Michael Fassbender. And then I did watch a thing on how they edited it, and they were saying how he doesn't blink, so they edited out all the blinking. So that was interesting. I was just going to give a major spoiler away, but okay. And what else? So I have my little notes in front of me, so if I look down, that is why. Bear with me. And I think that's it. So yeah, I watched 3 movies this week. What I did this week, not a whole heck of a lot. It was kind of a crazy work week. I ordered a walking pad for my desk so now I need to figure out a standing desk. Do I want to order an actual standing desk? Something like a sofa table, that's what I'm leaning towards, to go in the living room window. Or just some sort of attachment that my husband could build on top of my already desk where I'm sitting right now. So I would like to get that figured out this week because the walking pad arrives on Thursday. So I'm hopeful that I can get in more steps this winter. I do live in Minnesota, so it's hard in the winter to get in your steps, but I'm trying to be healthier, so we'll see. I am excited about it. And then my husband put out the He put up the outside lights. There we go. I'll get there. I promise. So he put up the outside lights for Christmas, and they look really good. He had a strand out, and he got that taken care of today. So he hasn't done that in years. So I don't know if since COVID he did that, but it looks really good, and I'm happy that he did that. And then Spotify Worked came out this week. So if you're a music fan and you're interested in what my Spotify or music tastes are, my number 1 was Prince. I'm from Minnesota. That's probably, and grew up in the 80s, so that's fairly common. But here are my top artists, if you can see that, hopefully. I think Janet Jackson is on there because in May I went to her concert, which was amazing. But anyway, so let's see, what books did I finish this week? So I did finish The Dutch House. This is by Ann Patchett, and I listened to the audiobook, and it was narrated by Tom Hanks. Amazing. So the audio, I would say that's the route to go if you're going to read this. His narration was incredible. I mean, he could read the telephone book or, I don't know, my to-do list to me, and I would find it fascinating. So I really enjoyed it. I don't know if I had read it in physical form. if I would have enjoyed it as much. So this is about mostly about two siblings. It takes place over 5 decades, and it's told from the perspective of the brother. It's a brother and sister, Danny and Maeve. So it's told from the perspective of the brother. He is a bit sarcastic, so if you don't like sarcasm, you might not like that, but especially in his adult life, he gets pretty sarcastic. I found it funny. So I really enjoyed it. It's not a lot of plot. It's more about the characters. And I will definitely read something else from Ann Patchett. I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. And then I read Small Things Like These by Claire Keegan. And I had read a Claire Keegan book called Foster. So, and these are both tiny, tiny little books. And they're short too. So it's like the size is really small. I had read this for book club this year and really, really loved it. So I decided to pick up her other book, one of our other ones, Small Things Like These. This was a Booker Prize, won the Booker Prize, I think, in 2022. So this was heartbreaking. I didn't really know where it was going until halfway through. So, but I don't know how she packs such a punch in such a small amount of time. It's only 100 and some pages, 114 pages. And it packs, and really based on the size, since it's so short, I feel like it's probably more like a 50-page book. And it packed a punch. It was beautiful, heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching. I don't know how she does it in this short amount of time, but she's amazing. Beautiful writing. Highly recommend. It does take place in Ireland in 1985. And it's about, I can't really say too much about what it's about because it kind of gives away. I had no idea going in. So I feel like I'm going to just leave it there because it is such a small book. But I also gave this one 4 out of 5. I would have given it a 5 except for it took about halfway for it to take off, I would say. Then I read Heartstopper Volume 4. This is a graphic novel. There are 4 volumes in this series. Volume 5 comes out in a couple weeks. It's a graphic novel and it's amazing. I love it. There is a TV series on Netflix that I think has gone up through Volume 3, I think. But adorable, cute, young love, which is refreshing sometimes. So those are the books that I read and finished this week. What I'm currently reading is Frederick Bachman, Anxious People. I did mention this one last week, and I am enjoying it. I'm not very far. You can see how far I am. Right around page 105, so not too far. Didn't make very much progress in it this week. It is good. It's about a bank robbery gone wrong, and it's fun. And I'm also reading Night of the Living Rez. It's 12 short stories, Indigenous stories, and I was gonna read 1 a day, but you know how that goes. I've only read 2 this whole week. So I've read 2 of the short stories. They're good. Not incredible, but so far they're good. But I heard the one that's actually based on the title or has this title is amazing. So eager to get through more of this. And then I just started listening to on audio Breakfast at Tiffany's, and it is narrated by Michael C. Hall. Michael C. Hall? No. Yes, it is Michael C. Hall. I was getting him confused with the guy from the 80s that's in like the Breakfast Club, 16 Candles. That guy. But it's narrated by Michael C. Hall, and he does a really good job, and I'm only a little bit into it, but it is a really short book, so I should be able to finish that up this week. And I think it was free on Audible, so that's where I am listening to it at. And then plans for the week on what I want to read. I do want to start, if I get these other 2 books finished, I want to start. This book is it's called A Daughter of Fortune. It's a novel by Isabel Allende. I'm not sure how to pronounce that. This is a book club pick. The prompt for our book club was to pick something translated, so I think this is translated from Spanish. Let me double check that. I can't tell if it's actually translated, so I'll have to look into that. I think it is translated from Spanish. But this is a book club pick that I need to get started because this is our December pick. So other than that, I might pick up another graphic novel to kind of get in my book count for the year. So pick up some easy, fast reads. But yeah, so that is on the plan for this week. As far as books that I bought, well, I got 2 generously given to me at work. And I really appreciate that. So one is, these are nonfiction, Atomic Habits by James Clear. I've never read it. I'm anxious to read it, so everyone at work is reading this right now. And then also Atlas of the Heart by Brene Brown. This is a heavy book. It's big. You can see how big it is. So that one is really cool inside. So I heard that this one is better to have the book because it's a lot of cool visuals. So that will be fun to read, and I'm very grateful that they do invest in the employees that way. So the other books that I got Louise Penny, Still Life. I've never read Louise Penny before, and I heard about her from another booktuber called Middle of the Book March. So I mentioned her in my last video, but I've been liking her reading taste, and I'm picking up some good things from her on what to read. And then I did pick up my first Joan Didion book, The Year of Magical Thinking, and I have a feeling I'm going to love it and want all the Joan Didion based on what I've heard about her. So I'm excited to get into this one. That is, I'm not going to go into what they're about because we'd be here all day. And then the Traveling Cat Chronicles I got. This is another little, you can kind of see compared to the Foster book, about the same size. So this is by Hiro Arikawa, and it is translated by Philip Gabriel. So I've heard this is really good. I've heard it's a tearjerker, and maybe this one would be a good one to get in before the end of the year since it's so short. But I'm excited about that one. And then I got Garden Spell by Sarah Addison Allen, and I think this is an older book, but I heard about it from several YouTubers. It's 2007 copyright. So I am excited to read this one. I think it is kind of a witchy vibe type book. I heard it compared to Practical Magic, which I've never read that book. I would love to read that book as well. But excited about that one. I'm excited about all of them. Like, why would you buy a book if you're not excited about it? And then this one's called Hello Beautiful by Anne Napolitano. I am horrible with names. And my name is complicated, so I should be better. But Hello Beautiful, I heard about this from a coworker who said this was her favorite book of the year. So I was like, I want to check it out. There's a little romance in here. I'm not much of a romance reader, but like Heartstopper is romance, and I love it. But maybe it's because it's combined with a graphic novel. So we'll see. I'm excited to read this one. And when someone says it's her favorite book of the year, especially if someone you know and can trust, I'm anxious to get into that. So that's a lot of books that I got this week. And then let's see what else. Favorite booktube video this week has to be Kayla's Books and Lala 80s video, where and I will post her thumbnail here. She goes back and reads books from the 80s. I think she was looking at a magazine in 1985 or one of those years, and she pulls out books from that year, like Daniel Steele, Sidney Sheldon. So it's a really fun, she's so creative and puts a lot of time into her videos. So I just wanted to shout her out, even though, not very many people will see this video, but I wanted to just mention that I really appreciated that video and how much work she puts into it. My plans for this week as far as personal plans are getting our Christmas cards done. We're always last minute, and we said we were going to do it this weekend. Don't see that happening. And then, let's see. oh, we have a winter bucket list. We're trying to think of things that we could do just locally around here that would keep us out of the winter blues during this winter. Again, we live in Minnesota, so it can get pretty brutal. And last winter we had a really hard time. But last winter we had so much snow, it was crazy. And this year we don't have any so far. So maybe it'll be a mild winter and that should help. But we're trying to think of things to do, so we have a list. So hopefully next weekend we can get to one of those items. But other than that, just mostly reading and taking care of household stuff. Real fun. But yeah, I think that's all I had on my list. Let's just check. That is it. All right, I appreciate you guys being here. Thanks for watching.